Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, let us start with the class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 31, and verses 13 and 14. Verse 13. Pranata kamadam padmacharchitam dharani mandanam deyamapadi charana pankajam shantatmam chate ramananastanesh arpayati. Translation. Your lotus feet which are worshipped by Lord Brahma, fulfill the desires of all who bow down to them. They are the ornament of the earth. They give the highest satisfaction, and in times of danger, they are the appropriate object of meditation. O lover, O destroyer of anxiety, please put those lotus feet upon our breasts. Text 14. Suratavardhanam shokanashanam svaritavenuna sushtuchumbitam itararaga vismaranam manrinam Vitaravirana's Tadaramritam. Translation. O hero, kindly distribute to us the nectar of your lips, which enhances conjugal pleasure and vanquishes grief. That nectar is thoroughly relished by your vibrating flute and makes people forget any other attachment. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's charming commentary on this verse is in the form of a dialogue between the gopis and Krishna. The gopis say, "O Krishna, you exactly resemble Dhanvantari, the best of the physicians. So please give us some medicine, for we are suffering from the disease of romantic desire for you. Don't hesitate to give us the medicinal nectar of your lips freely, without our paying a substantial price. Since you are a great hero in giving charity, you should give it without any payment, even to the most wretched persons. Consider that we are losing our life and that now you can restore us to life by giving us that nectar. After all, you have already given it to your flute, which is simply a hollow bamboo stick," Krishna says. But the diet of people in this world is a bad one of attachment to wealth, followers, family, and so forth. The particular medicine you requested should not be given to those who have such a bad diet. But this medicine makes one forget all other attachments. So wonderful is this herbal drug that it counteracts bad dietary habits. Please give that nectar to us, O hero, since you are most charitable. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padaham Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishwakam Vitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopeshta Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Devi Pranamani Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare would like to ask for blessings of assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and also in online audience. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Sri Radha Krishna. And he says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that in Vedic scriptures only 3 topics are discussed: Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojana. And as all we know, Sambandha refers to constitutional position of the living entity. Prayojana means the goal of human life, what we aim to attain. And Abhidheya means the process, how we attain it. Next 3 verses is being presented by His Holiness Kadambakhananda Swami when he was asked the question how we can just in 3 verses describe what is Sambandha, what is Abhidheya, and what is Prayojana. So Maharaj replied deciding these 3 verses, which are very beautiful. So first verse is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 6th chapter, where Lord Advaita Acharya he prays. Chaitanya Radasa Muni, Chaitanya Radasa. Chaitanya Radasa Muni, Tanra Dasa Radasa. I'm servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I'm a servant of Lord Chaitanya and a servant of his servants. It's very beautiful and profound if you think about this verse in terms of our Gaudiya, Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya and our Vaishnava culture, how it's a principle, fundamental principle of our Krishna consciousness, of our identity of as a devotees, aspiring devotees, to remember who we worship and who is our key, who is our master. And in Kali Yuga, there's no more merciful incarnation than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who specifically not only came to establish religious principles like Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, why he appears, but specifically came, his confidential reasons is to taste the mellows of conjugal love and give it to all the world. And there's another verse emphasized by Lord Chaitanya, which Srila Prabhupada liked to quote a lot. Naham vipro na chanara patir na pivaisha na shanta, naham varni na chagriha patir na vanastayate, kintu pradhyam nikhila paramananda purnamida ter gopi bhartu padaka malayo dasa dasa dasa. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya or Shudra, not I'm a Brahmacharya, householder, Vanaprastha or Sannyasi. I identify myself only as a servant of the servant of lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He's like an ocean of nectar and he's the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He's always existed with brilliance. And I was thinking of example before we go to next 2 verses of which Kadambakhananda Swami defines about Sambandha Videya Prayojana, is that how important to have proper Sambandha at every proper understanding of our relationship with Chit Achit Ishvara, means with what is a spirit, what is a matter, and who is a proprietor of both of them. His example comes into my mind as you have a navigation program or navigation application on our phones or other devices. And while we try to navigate in this world, we cannot move anywhere unless you have a connection. So first is connection. If you don't have your network, it doesn't work. It's easy as that. And to establish a network, you have to commit some. You cannot just like grab it somewhere. Even to open a Wi-Fi sometimes is a challenge. You have to still do some movements. You have to choose the right network, which will provide you a proper connection. And even having connection doesn't yet make it happen. But another system of in America and all over the world, they use this global position system called GPS. And that basically finds out where we are situated. And unless we know where we are, we cannot actually move anywhere. We may try, but to start from point A to point B, we have to first define first A. So even if we know the goal of life and we know the process to achieve the goal of life, without knowing our position where we are now, we actually cannot move. But this Sambandha principle is very important. And I was thinking further about, again, back to the same example. Once you position yourself and the machine shows, okay, you're here, 2nd Avenue, 25th house, New York. And you set a goal where you want to go. And while you start moving, if you again lost yourself, if you lost yourself on the way, again, you cannot move because you don't know where you are. So it's like constant reminding ourselves on a daily basis and even more often throughout the day and night, who we are and where we belong to. About the Abhidheya as a process of achieving the ultimate goal of life. Kadambakana Swami, he cites Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Harinam Chintamani, 13th chapter, verse 59. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, Dasha aparatha yana hridaya napasha, kripakara Mahaprabhu majina marasa. O Mahaprabhu, please be merciful to me so that the 10 offenses never touch my heart and I can always remain absorbed in the rasa of the holy name. As we all know, the process of this age is Sankirtan Yagya, and it's most important to be performed daily, individually and collectively. And what blocks us and makes our journey more difficult and slows us down, can distract us a lot, is offenses. And there's 10 offenses to the holy names, which they all starts from the inattentiveness. It's described as a root cause of all offenses. And the most crucial, most dangerous of all the offenses is number 1 offense is blaspheming the devotees of the Lord, who are especially devotees of the Lord who are engaged in broadcasting the glorious and the holy names. And all of these offenses is very important to remember, and it's advised to actually recite them before japa. So a japa actually will improve. We remember that the danger comes if we think that actually I commit no offenses. And it can be dangerous mentality if you think that we are perfect. Always safer to think that actually have lots of room to improve. So in this way, we recite daily the prayers and we ask for mercy. And Vaishnava, he's always meek and humble. And once I heard a lecture of Srila Radhanath Swami when he said that the more humble you become, the more love of Godhead you develop. And the sign of one who has love of Godhead is humility. So to achieve love of Godhead, we have to be humble. And to recognize one who has love to Krishna is his humility. So they go like hand to hand together. And the verse about Prayojana is cited from Chaitanya Charitamrita Antelila. And now it's Lord Chaitanya himself speaking. These first two verses was prayers to Lord Chaitanya, but the third verse is verse spoken by Lord Chaitanya. And it's 20th chapter, verse 37, just in between of Shikshastaka prayers, conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Lord Chaitanya prays, Prema dhana vina vyartha daridra jivana, dasa kari vetan amore deha prema dhana. Translation: without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore, I pray that you accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of God. It's a very beautiful verse, which is all of these three verses is could be a daily recitation. It's personal choice, but we see in disciples of Srila Prabhupada as a beautiful book of his daily prayers of Shivaram Swami, and it's full of beautiful verses, which Maharaj describes he recites before he does anything on his day. So immediately when he wakes up, he recites this whole book. Takes around 40 minutes, 50 minutes, just prayer after prayer, and beginning with our spiritual masters, Guru Parampara, and Lord Chaitanya and his associates, and going gradually to Vrindavan, Govardhan Hill, Radha Kund, and concluding at Lotus Feet of Radheshyam. Like in our tradition, we recite a lot of prayers, and now this chapter, what we now studying, most exalted prayers of the gopis, who we all worship as the supreme, most intimate devotees of Lord Krishna. They pray, and they pray in the mood of total humility and surrender to the will of Lord Krishna. Spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. His life, he was very much fighting the misconception of misinterpretation of what happened that time of initiation. It was called Siddha Pranali, means when spiritual master was giving initiation to the disciple, he was giving him spiritual form and explaining to him that form we're going to meditate on. And it was interpreted by unqualified persons. So, but Maharaj still gave one Babaji initiation to one of his disciples whose name was Krishna Das Babaji. And he was still present when Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. And his disciples, Srila Prabhupada disciples, had association with this most exalted Vaishnava, who Srila Prabhupada said that he's a pure devotee of Krishna. And once this Krishna Babaji, he visited Radhakund, and local Babajis, they all gathered there and said, "You're not bona fide. You're not real Babaji, because your guru didn't give this Siddha Pranali initiation to anyone. So you're not real Babaji." And he said, very proudly, said, "Actually, I received my Siddha Pranali from Lord Chaitanya." And all the Babajis was like, "Wow, tell us, what is this Siddha Pranali?" He said, "This is very special mantra." And everybody was very curious. Tell us, what is this?" And Babaji Maharaj said, "This Siddha Pranali mantra was given by Lord Chaitanya himself. And it's Trinadapi Sunichina, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manandana, Kirtanya Sadahri." And actually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he also describes it. And this is our mantra, which we should always meditate, and it gives us our position, our Svarupa, our form in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, which is servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And once Jayapataka Maharaj was given in class, and just like for a long time, he was just reciting how we should become just a servant, the servant, the servant of the servant. And for many minutes, when he was just repeating how many servant of the servant of the servant we should become. So these prayers of gopis should inspire us to develop this extreme humility and surrender to Krishna. And there's many lessons in this wonderful chapter. As we know, the most famous verse is Tava Katham Ritam Tapta Jivanam. Just a few verses back, number 9. And I think these particular verses today gopis, they mentioned the lotus feet of Krishna and bow down to his lotus feet, taking shelter of his lotus feet. And what does it mean to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna? And Srila describes this in the 7th canto, 7th chapter, verse 48, in purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. I just read that quote. Everyone should know that in every stage of life, we are dependent upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Dharma, religion which we accept, should be that which is recommended by Prahlad Maharaj, Bhagavata Dharma. This is the instruction of Krishna. Sarva Dharmam Parityaja, Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. To take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna means to act according to the rules and regulations of Bhagavata Dharma, devotional service. And in another lecture, he explains more of what does it mean. It's a lecture given in Mayapur on 7th canto, 9th chapter, verse 18 by Srila Prabhupada. And he cites this verse, Samashritaya pada palava plavam, mahat padam punya yaso murare, bhavan purvat vatsa padam param padam. And he explains that these great ocean nations in which we are now fallen and very much struggling for existence, exactly just like if you're thrown in the ocean. You may be a very good swimmer, but the condition is very dangerous. You'll have to struggle. You cannot say, I'm a good swimmer. I shall be very easily able to cross over the ocean. No, that's not possible. If you take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, what is that lotus feet? Mahatpadam. It is shelter of the whole material creation from Mahatattva, the total material energy. This is called Mahatattva. From Mahatattva, the whole cosmic manifestation has come. For the lotus feet of Krishna means there's also Mahatattva, many Mahatattvas. So he explains it's we take shelter of everything if we and everything resides in the lotus feet of Krishna. And then in a beautiful purport of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explained was the result of as gopis pray to Krishna, the discussion which is cited. I find the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter. My dear Vyas, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, Buddhist workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again, and in perpetual face. A devotee of the Lord automatically becomes uninterested in the enchantment of material existence because he is rasa graha, the one who has tasted sweetness of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So once we are, there's another verse in Bhagavatam 6th canto, I just recite that. Devotees who always lick the honey from the lotus feet of Lord Krishna do not care at all for material activities, which are performed under the three modes of material nature and which bring only misery. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he described what means true humility. He says it's the absence of enjoying spirit. And we can conclude from that absence of enjoying spirit means spirit of service. So in every situation of life, even we are in association of devotees, or we are in association of non-devotees who are forgetful of Krishna, we always have a mood of service. And it's in a way easy to serve Vaishnavas because they're so exalted and pure, but sometimes it can be challenging. Like I remember while distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, people were saying, yes, we understand your principle of becoming humble. It's quite essential for spiritual life, but people will misuse you. People will betray you. They will take advantage of you. So I don't think it really fits me to develop this quality, because this world is very hard and you have to survive and fight. But real service to the souls who forget Krishna is to remind them about Krishna, to share with them the nectar. Who can refuse the nectar if you give it in love and spirit? We just have to have a proper proportion of how much we can share And many times it's not our words, but it's our behavior in this world. Example behavior, and we are not proud of being practicing Krishna consciousness, but we are very much open to listen and to learn the lessons from everything and everyone around us. And to share nectar with people means there's three angas of that, three powerful methods. It's prashadam, it's kirtan, and it's a lecture. So, and many times it starts with even kirtan or prashadam, as Adipurusha Prabhu does 3 times a week, and Bhakti Center also does multiple programs, and also on Saturdays, distribution of prashadam, kirtan programs, and different programs where we present Krishna conscious philosophy. So to conclude, remembrance of our position, as I just recite again these verses of Sambandha, Abhidya, and Prayojana, and complete there. So about Sambandha, Chaitanya Radhasa Muni, Chaitanya Radhasa, Chaitanya Radhasa Muni, Tam Radhasa Radhasa. I'm a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I'm a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of his servants. About Abhidya is Dasha Aparadha Yana Hridayana Pasha, Kripa Karu Mahaprabhu Majana Marasa. Oh Mahaprabhu, please be merciful to me so that the 10 offenses never touch my heart and I can always remain absorbed in the rasa of the holy name. And about Prayojana, Premadana Vinagarta Darida Vedana, Dasakari Vetana Moredeha Prema Dana. Without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore, pray that you accept me as your servant, give me the salary, ecstatic love of God. So, any questions, comments, complaints? Hare Krishna. Adipurusha Prabhu, you always have something to say.
Hare Krishna, beautiful class. Thank you so much. Very clear. We have to know where we are, where we're going, what the goal is, and how to get there, right? Very good. And by the grace of the spiritual master, all these things are accomplished. Krishna consciousness is not just theoretical, it's not dry, it's not in a book. It's about love. It's an experience, and it works. And all the little I's are dotted, the T's are crossed when we accept the grace of the spiritual master and we give it to others. Krishna gave me an interesting, funny experience yesterday. I was walking around in the supermarket and there's all these people, and I was, we have these Sankirtan reflexes where how do you get, there's no capacity to break through and start a conversation. Plus, I've got to pick up this boga because we have this program. And I'm walking by, and there's this one girl. Prabhupada said the face is the index of the mind. She looks so bright. She was one of those they give you a little table, and you're supposed to give everybody a little cup of this. They give you like a thimble full of drink, and she's supposed to give these samples out, But she just looks so bored and so miserable, and you see the mind is just twisted, And I just said, Prabhupada, look at that girl, But I didn't do anything. But I noticed that she was suffering, and I appealed to Srila Prabhupada. And all of a sudden, she like this, and she spoke to me. She said, I like your hair. Sika, I like your hair. What a way to open a conversation. I like your hair, I was like, oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, what do you say? I kept walking. And then all of a sudden I said, wait a minute. I went back. I said, hey, listen, can I give you a book? She said, book. Okay. So we always give out books all over the place. So I gave her one of those little Gitas, the little mini Gita, such a nice little book, Prabhupada's original Gita. And I said, this is for you. And she looked at me like I was from Mars, Said, why didn't you do that? I said, because we love you. And then I walked away, So I get all the way to the other end of this Whole Food store, and I get a phone call from Domi. She wanted a cucumber. I was in a rush, and I was like, all right, I left the basket there, man, all the way to the other side of the store, and it was where this girl was, So I come back looking for cucumber, and she comes running over to me, and she's pointing at the book. This is true. This is the truth. She's pointing to the top of the book. She's a finger in the book. She says, this book is true. I said, okay, yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, please, this will help you so much. Please read the book. And then I gave her a little business card with the prasadam distribution. I said, take a look at the Instagram pictures. We take care of distributing hot meals for the homeless people in the street. I'm going to do it. How do I do it? Where do I go? Tell me. I was like, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you can come and help. Good, wonderful. I'm doing it. I'm coming. Don't worry. It was just like, and she went from like dead in the water. I mean, this girl was toast. You know what? Akinchana Goswami, materially exhausted. Some people are so intoxicated with youth or drugs or fame or sex life that they're just gliding along, in a stupor in material life, and they think there's no problem. This girl was fried. I mean, she was ripe, the low-hanging fruit, And I didn't really have the wherewithal to approach her, but I noticed her pain, and I appealed to Srila Prabhupada in like one tiny little thought. The next thing you know, she came to me. And then she gave me this huge hug. I was really embarrassed. I'm in the middle of the store, and there's this girl like, thank you so much. I'm coming, don't worry. I said, yeah, okay. I found the cucumber, but I mean, Krishna consciousness is like that. It's real. We really, this is what we do, and his love can come through us, and we can pull people out of their, and here the gopis are appealing to Krishna. Yesterday, we were talking about how just by his smile, any shred of unhappiness or confusion that they have is dissipated, I know. So we have, by the grace of the spiritual master, we can actually help people come to the level of joy and Krishna. That's how Krishna consciousness works. Oh, it's just a little incident. Krishna gave us some nectar yesterday. Oh, Krishna Prabhupada.
Yeah, whatever little hair you may have, Krishna's love can come through it. Right, Gopal Krishna Prabhu? Are you relating to Ari's story?
So ecstatic. The most magical moments happens when we share Krishna consciousness, and like prasada distribution, holy name distribution, and lectures and books, and this book distribution is special powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gopal Krishna. Wonderful class. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, darshan time. Time to turn on your cameras if you can. That was very nice, Nayana Manjari. Very pleasing and inspiring. Thank you. Okay, dear Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, thank you very much for participating, for turning on your cameras. Scarlett, Anisha, Hemangi, Yogeshwari, Domi. Domi, did you offer that cucumber to Krishna? Amita Kishori, Didi, Tina and family, Suzanne, Susan, Isabel Spirit Soul, Preeti Chaturvedi. So good to see you all. Come again tomorrow. Come again tomorrow. There's nectar for us tomorrow. Well, so yeah, that book, did they answer the question? The prayer book?
No, but I'll ask. I'll find him. Thank you
Yeah,
so
grab
much.
them. Yeah,
I will. He's hard
Okay.
to miss.
yeah.